Okay, so we're starting chapter 6 now, which is analyzing linear relations. And part of what we're doing is a little bit of a review from chapter 5. So section 6.1 has to do with the equation of a line in slope y-intercept form, which is in the form y equals mx plus b. So just to refresh your memory, remember m is your slope, right? Which remember we use little m, which is your rise over your run, or you can use your slope formula to calculate it. Okay. B, in chapter 5, it called it lots of things. It called it the fixed amount. It called it the initial amount. It called it the vertical intercept. And it also called it the y-intercept. In chapter 6, we generally call it the y-intercept. Remember, it's always that y value when x is 0. Okay? So here we've got different equations, and we're going to read from the equation what's the slope and what's the y-intercept. Remember, slope is your m, y-intercept is b, and it's in the form y equals mx plus b. So if my equation is y equals 4x plus 1, I know my m value is the number in front of x, which is 4. Don't write 4x. X is the independent variable. M is the slope, which is 4. B is positive 1. Okay, let's look at this one, y equals x over 2 minus 3. So you got to remember what number is in front of this x here. There's a 1. So the slope is 1 over 2. Okay, remember x is your independent variable, so you don't include it. There's your b value, 3. Okay, y equals negative 2x. What's your m? Right there, negative 2. What's your b value? There's nothing written for b. You're actually adding 0 or subtracting 0, same thing. Okay, so your b value here is 0. Remember, that's a direct variation. And this one here, think about what number's in front of that x, negative 1, and the b value here is 2. Okay, let's look at question 2, where you asked to figure out what the slope is, what's the y-intercept, and then write the equation. So you did something very similar to this one here in chapter 5. Okay, the y-intercept is probably the easiest one to figure out because it's where the line, right, crosses the y-axis. So if this is my line, right, I look, where does it cross the y-axis? Well, it crosses it right here. What value of b and y is that? It's 6. So my b value is 6. So I've got my y-intercept. Now I'm going to find my slope. So once again, you can use rise over run, or you can use your slope formula. You decide. For here, it might be easier to do rise over run. So I'm going to draw a triangle between 2 points that I can read well. This is going by a scale of 1, so I'm going to count my rise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to count my run, 1, 2. So my rise over my run is 6 over 2, but because it's going to the left, I have to remember it's negative. And then, of course, you need to simplify it, so this is negative 3. Okay, so that's by using rise over run. You could have used the slope formula, and if you did, you pick 2 points that you can read well. So let's suppose I pick this one. X is 0, y is 6. Let's suppose I pick this one. X is 2, y is 0. Using those 2 points, I could have also found the slope. So I would have subtracted my y values. 6 take away 0. I would have subtracted my x values, 0 take away 2. So 6 take away 0, 6, 0 take away 2, negative 2, and reduce it, and I get negative 3. I get the exact same answer. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, but if you do rise over run, you have to remember that going to the left to include that negative. If you do the slope formula, the result will have the negative already there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to write the equation. Remember, it's in the form y equals mx plus b. So here, y equals m, which is -3, x plus my b value here, which is 6, and now I am finished. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So here, again, once again, we're going to find the slope and the y-intercept. The slope here, the y-intercept, where the graph crosses the y-axis, which is right here at -5. So there's my b value. Now let's look at a horizontal line. We talked a little bit about this when we did slope in chapter 5. Okay, now here, if you have a horizontal line, what's your slope? And what you should be telling me is that there isn't one. The slope here is 0. There is no rise. So the m value here is 0. So when I sub this into my equation, y equals mx plus b, I get y equals 0, multiply that by x, plus b, which is -5. What's 0 times any number? It's 0. So this is gone. So this is gone, so I get y equals -5. And that's my equation. This is actually a special case. It's always going to be y equaling the b value. Remember, -5 is the b value, so this one here is a special case because the slope here is 0. Let's look at this one. Again, what's the y-intercept? This is a vertical line. Is it going through this y-axis? Does the line cross it? The answer is no. There's no b value. Again, let's think back to chapter 5 when we talked about a vertical line. Okay, this has a rise. It has no run. This has an undefined slope. So there's no slope that can be defined, and there's no b value. So I cannot write the equation in the form y equals mx plus b. This is another special case. And this, a vertical line, is the only time you see x equaling something, because normally it's the dependent variable, y equaling something. So this is going to be y equaling the x-intercept, where the line crosses the x-axis. So here's the x-axis, here's the line, it crosses the x-axis here at 3. So this is x equals 3. And you always see this special case when you have a vertical line. I just want to make a correction. I realized that I said something incorrectly. When I wrote this, I said y. I really should have said x. So x equals the x-intercept. So you won't have a y here with this special case with a vertical line. Okay, so let's look at the last part here where we're graphing. So here, and we're going to write equations. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to write the equation and then we're going to graph it. So if my m is 3/4 and my b is -2, to write my equation, remember it's in the form y equals mx plus b, unless it's one of the special cases. So here my m is 3/4, so this is y equals 3/4x plus my b value. So what we're going to do now is we're going to graph this. But we're going to graph it without a table of values, okay? We're going to graph it by plotting the b value first, and then we're going to graph the rest using our slope, keeping in mind that a slope is a ratio of our rise over our run. If our rise is positive, we're going to go up. If our rise is negative, we're going to go down. If our run is positive, we're going to go to the right. If our run is negative, we're going to go to the left. So from here, my first step is to plot the y-intercept. Graphing this method is always easiest if you go by a scale of 1 and a space of 1, because we're going to count, and it will be easier to count by ones. So go by a scale and a space of 1. So plot your y-intercept first at -2. That's my first step. Now the rest, I'm going to use my slope. So here's my slope, 3 over 4. Remember, this is rise over run. Because the rise is positive 3, I know rise being positive, I'm going to go up. Well, how many am I going to go up? I'm going to go up 3. So from here, I'm going to go up 3. This run is positive. Because it's positive, I go to the right. Well, how many times am I going to go to the right? 4 times. So right 4 times. So from here, I go up 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I put a point there. Then I do it again. I go up 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's my other point. So have at least 3 points. Take your ruler and connect them. Extend it because it's a line. Put an arrow on both ends. And then label your line with your equation. Once you've done that, you're done. So once again, you start with the b value first at -2. Now you look at your slope, which is a ratio of rise over run. Because your rise is positive, you go up. Because your run is positive, you go to the right. So from here, the y-intercept, I go up 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I put a point there. Then I do it again. 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. I get my ruler, I connect it, I extend my line, I put arrows on both ends, and I label it. And now I'm finished. Okay, let's look at the next one. So once again, my equation, y equals m negative 3x plus b, which is 0. So don't write plus 0. Okay, there's my equation. Now, once again, I'm going to graph it without a table of values. So I start off by plotting my y-intercept here at 0. Now I look at my slope, which is -3. Remember, a slope is a ratio of your rise over your run. You can write every whole number as a fraction, and this is really one of the only times we do this, writing a whole number as a fraction. Every whole number has 1 as the denominator. Let's look at the rise. Rise is negative. So that negative tells me I'm going to go down. How many am I going to go down? I'm going to go down 3 because it's 3. The run is positive. That tells me I'm going to go to the right. How many times? Once. So here, because of the rise, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3 to the right once. Do it again. 1, 2, 3 to the right once. Take your ruler, connect it, extend, put arrows on both ends, and label your line with your equation. Okay, once again, start with b. Rise is -3, go down 1, 2, 3, make it into a fraction. Every whole number has a 1, so you go to the right once, do it again, down 1, 2, 3 to the right once, connect, extend, put arrows, and label. Let's look at the last one. So here, my m value is 0, so 0 times x, and my b value is 5. 0 times x I know is 0, so this is one of those special cases again. Okay, so I go to my y-intercept here at 5, right? I know my slope is 0. So what does a 0 slope line look like? It looks like a horizontal line. So I just draw a horizontal line through 5. I extend it, I put arrows, and I label it with my equation, and that's it. So once again, y-intercept, there is no slope, it's 0, so I know it's a horizontal line going through the y-intercept. That's it.